Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to use our balances in the lab. So this here is what we call a top-loading balance. We also have another type of balance called an analytical balance. So I'm just going to turn this one on really quickly by pushing and holding the on button. Here's our analytical balance. I'm also going to turn this one on, and I'm going to show you the differences in between these balances. So our top-loading balance, as you can see, is open at the top, so it's easy to measure things here. And our top-loading balance measures things accurately to 2 decimal places. And our analytical balance, which has this glass enclosure here to prevent airflow from coming across the top of the balance and messing up your measurements, is accurate to 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So this is the balance we want to use when we want to be as accurate as possible, and we usually use this for analytical measurements. For general chemistry, you will not be using this balance very much, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off by pushing and holding this button. Okay. So you're mostly going to be using the top-loading balance, which is what I'm going to show you how to use today. Now the first thing you're going to want to do when you come in here to start your measurements is to clean off the top of the balance. So oftentimes from the previous student, there will be like a little bit of stuff on here, and that's going to mess with your measurements. So make sure you clean this off. You can just swipe it off here with a brush. All right, and so now we've got our measurement at 0. We're going to be measuring this chemical and also some water. I'm going to show you how to do both. Now if you notice, I've got 2 different, what we call here, weigh boats. They're different sizes. You can use whichever one you want. And we're simply going to place this weigh boat onto the balance. If you'll notice, our measurement goes up. Now we want this measurement to be at 0 because we aren't measuring this weigh boat. We want to measure the stuff that we're putting into the weigh boat. So we're going to hit the tare button to send it back to 0. So now we aren't measuring the weight of the weigh boat, which is good. So we can use our spatula, either one. We've got this larger one, and we also have these smaller ones that can be used for smaller amounts of chemicals. And you can simply put this on the balance, and now it's going to measure how much you put into the weigh boat, and then you can transfer this to whatever container you're putting it in. Now, you will also be measuring liquids. So for liquids, you're probably going to want a larger container. I'm going to use a beaker in this example. You might also use a flask or a test tube or a volumetric flask. Any of those are acceptable. So if you notice here, right now it's measuring the weight of our beaker, which we don't want. We want to measure what's inside the beaker. So we're going to tare this and set it to 0. And now we can put our liquid in. All right. So now I can put my liquid in. Now if you'll notice, I was about to put this into my beaker. We need to be careful here because oftentimes water will spill on the balance. So I'm going to ask you guys, before you do that, please remove the beaker from the balance before you put liquid in it, so we won't spill liquid on the balance. And then you can simply pipette straight into the beaker or flask or whatever glassware that you are using. All right. And then once you have that completed, we can simply move that back onto the balance and check our weight. So please, again, don't pipette directly into here while it's on the balance. That way we aren't spilling water on here and getting it in the electronics. And that's all. That's how you use a balance.